Hey everybody, it's Abby Cooper here. Lewis Cooper's over there on his couch supervising me as usual. Couldn't do this without him, really. You're crushing it, Lewis. Yeah. Today I am going to share with you something I have never shared with anybody before. Also, dun dun dun, because I don't know, it's a little bit of like an but also a dun 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 kind of thing. Because, you ready for this? I am going to share with you the first draft of the first chapter of Sticks and Stones. Now, before you get all like, what are you talking about, Abby Cooper? Isn't this first chapter your first draft of Sticks and Stones? I have to tell you something. No. This first chapter in the finished copy of Sticks and Stones is so far from my first draft, it might as well be on a whole different draft planet. But that's okay. When I started writing my first draft, I knew a little bit about the characters and the plot and sort of what I wanted to have happen. But I didn't really know how exactly I wanted everything to unfold. And so writing my first draft was a little bit of just me exploring how I wanted to tell this story. If you have read Sticks and Stones, which, no pressure, but I think having done that will really make what I'm about to share that much more interesting, because my first draft is very, very different and a little bit something I'm not like super proud of. No, it's okay. It's okay. But it's not my best writing. But guess what? That's actually really okay, because first drafts do not need to be amazing or even good. They just need to exist, because you'll see in this first draft, I give myself a lot to work with. And while this is not the chapter that made it into here exactly, you will notice a lot of things mentioned in here end up making appearances later on in Sticks and Stones. So I do want to share this first draft with you because I want you to see how very, very different it is from my final draft. Sometimes I think people have this impression that authors are like magical creatures who write the perfect words the first time. And we are not that, my friends. We revise and revise and revise, and when we're done with that, guess what we do? Have a snack and then revise. So just be aware, we all start off with messy first drafts, and I'm going to prove that to you right now. Ready? Let's do it. Whew, okay, gotta warn you, it's long, so if you need like a snack or something, go get it now, and then come back. Oh, wait. Okay, I'm done waiting. Did you get your snack? Sweet, let's do it. Chapter 1 of the first draft of Sticks and Stones, ever. Here we go. Holy high heels, was I in pain. And I mean pain. It was like getting my ears pierced all over again. Except it was like I had 3 million ears instead of 2. And instead of getting cute little sparkly studs at the end of all the torture, I got words plastered all over my arms and legs. Stupid, stupid, stupid words. And they didn't even sparkle. I took a giant deep breath and inspected my right arm. The word nerd, written in big, bold, uppercase letters, stung like a slew of angry bees. Jag, I whined into the phone. Props. Yeah. You know you can't say that, even when you're joking. Sorry, she exclaimed, and I could tell she really meant it. As my best friend, it was her responsibility to make sure she didn't hurt me on purpose. And to lend me adorable shoes. Mostly to lend me adorable shoes. Mom poked her head into my room. She was carrying a laundry basket, which meant 2 important things. 1, it was laundry day again. And 2, I was about to get in big trouble. Elise, Mom scolded, looking around the room like she had never seen anything more disgusting in her entire life. What did I tell you about leaving dirty socks all over your room? Trouble, called it. Hang on, I whispered to Jag. Then to Mom, I argued, they're only on the floor for easy access, so I don't have to go all the way to the dresser. I made a face like, isn't that brilliant of me? And Mom made one back like, no, it's not, and you're still in big trouble, so pick them up now. Fine, I'll pick them up, I grumbled. Sock duty calls, I told Jag. Laundry day again, she giggled. Almost every day at my house was laundry day, whereas every day at her house was do whatever you want day. But if both my parents were famous fashion designers like hers and named me after an article of clothing, jeggings, and could make fancy new clothes anytime they wanted, I guess I wouldn't need to do laundry either. Put a sock in it, Jake said, part of the routine we'd come up with whenever Mom came in and made me pick up socks. Sock it to me, I replied, sending us both into a fit of giggles. Mom gave me a look. Jake, I gotta go. Thanks for calling to remind me to bring my Explorer Leader application. I have to get picked. That would be so exciting, she said. You would be like the coolest person in school besides me. I laughed at Jake's joke. She was just as much of a nerd as I was. She did have a point, though. The Explorer Leader traditionally got boosted to super cool status. A little popularity never hurt anyone. In fact, for me, it might feel really good. When nice words sprung up on my skin, it was better than going shopping, better than staying up late, even better than eating chocolate. I would do anything to get them. I said bye and slowly started picking up those little troublemakers. My bright red sock, my fuzzy purple sock, my sock with the cute blue whales, and my sock with the pretty pink flamingos wearing poofy purple dresses. Why did I write that tongue twister? Oh my God. Mom seemed satisfied for the moment, until she noticed my arm. Oh, honey, again? Jake really needs to be more careful. She forgot, Mom. She was kidding. She didn't mean to call me a nerd. Forget the socks, babe. You just rest. Before I knew it, Mom was gathering up a whole bunch of socks. The bright pink one, the fuzzy pink one, the one with the dolphins, the one with the giraffes, the one with fuzzy pink giraffes, and started tossing them into the basket one after the next. If socks were basketballs, Mom could make it into the WNBA with her eyes closed. Do you want me to grab you some ice? Mom asked as she rounded up the last of the socks. Bye, adorable chocolate chip cookie sock, I thought sadly, looking at it sitting all scared and miserable in the basket. I'll see you again soon. Don't forget me. My socks were more than the snuggly little guys who made my feet warm and toasty. They made me feel warm and toasty because I could talk to them without worrying about them talking back. Even better, they didn't accidentally call me a nerd and make my arm look like it got painted on by one of those super depressed artist dudes. I didn't want her taking them away, even if they were only going to the washer and dryer down the hall. And what exactly was I supposed to put on my feet while they were gone? Had she ever stopped to think of that? No, I don't need ice. The pain portion of the morning was over. When Jake had first started accidentally calling me a nerd a few months ago, the word ached for hours before slowly fading away over the course of a few days. Now the pain usually only lasted a few minutes, but those few minutes were super intense. Mom plopped down on my bed, leaving the socks in the basket by the door. After all that commotion, she wasn't even going to do the laundry. I stared at the socks. It'll be okay, I reassured them in my brain. Soon you'll be back, and I'll put you back where you belong on the floor and on my feet, but mostly on the floor. I'm so sorry you have to deal with this, Mom said. Me too. Now I don't have any socks left. My toes were lonely already, not to mention chilly. I was talking about, you know. She couldn't even say it. I knew what she was talking about, and I felt a teensy bit rotten for making a joke. Mom hadn't asked to have some weirdo gene that popped up out of nowhere and gave me cognitivisabilitis when I was born. I knew she felt guilty, and I also knew it wasn't her fault. I tried not to make her feel like it was, but sometimes on really bad days, I couldn't help it. It can be good too, Mom, I reminded her, and she smiled a little. Remember that time when little cousin Justin tried to call me Poopy, but accidentally called me Soupy? I loved soup as much as I loved socks, so being Soupy was basically the biggest honor ever. And that one had made me feel really fantastic, till it faded a few days later. Mom giggled at the memory. Cognitivisabilitis had some perks. Not many, but some. The way it worked, whenever anybody called me a name, or if I accidentally called myself one, the word would appear on my body in small letters, kind of like a fake tattoo. Then I'd start feeling something from the word, usually something not so pleasant if it was a bad word, but usually something good if the word was nice. Sure, I might need a few more ice packs, Band-Aids, or hugs than your average kid, but I wasn't really that different. I had never tried to hide it, but there was no reason to talk about it a lot either. It was just part of me, like my ears or my nose or my belly button, and it would be weird to spend a lot of time talking about a belly button. Still, it would be nice if my fake belly button would stop trying to kill me every 5 minutes. I winced and cradled the nerd arm. Seriously, what was up with that one? Why had it been so bad? Someday it's going to be better, Mom murmured, sighing as if she could read my mind. It was hard to tell if she was talking to me or herself. You're going to be okay. When? An edgy tone crept into my voice. Soon, she replied, giving me a tired smile. Tuesday? I was half joking. I knew it wasn't likely, but at the same time, maybe it could happen. Maybe the cure people were finishing up the secret cure recipe right now, right at this very second, right as I kicked the final sock, a blue one with monkeys, into the basket. I don't think so, honey. Darn. I really hoped it would be Tuesday. I'd even settle for Wednesday, as long as it would come soon. Ever since I could remember, Mom kept saying it would be better someday, but someday was taking a really long time. I was getting a little sick of waiting. When Mom finally brought the socks downstairs, I forced myself up and got dressed for school. I put my clothes on in the same order I put them on every day. Long-sleeved shirt, jeans, socks, shoes. Since the Chicago weather was still all summery and delightful, I could wear sandals, but the rest of me had to be covered up just to be safe. Ooh, I have her wearing socks and sandals. Interesting. Things were different now that I was in 7th grade. I'd quickly learned that people were noticing things more than they ever had before. Things like the bushy brown hair coming out of our principal, Mr. Todd's ears, nasty fur balls, according to snotty Amy, the real bright pink streaks Jeg had put in her hair. People had stuff to say about everything. Even though they had never commented about the words on my body before, 7th grade was like a whole different universe. Suddenly things that didn't matter did, and not always in a good way. Phew! All right, we have reached the end of the first chapter of the first draft of Sticks and Stones. If you want to take a quick break, have a stretch, have a snack, talk about it with your class or whoever you're watching this with, go for it. I'll be here. Come back when you're done. Okay, unpause. Hi, I'm back. You're back. Everybody's back. Sweet. Okay, so obviously, if you've read this, you know that this was very, very different. So let's just unpack a little bit of what's going on in here. The first thing that I think of as a writer looking back on this is holy details Batman. Okay, so first of all that stuff about the socks. What? I mean, I think she does mention socks in this book at some point, doesn't she? She likes her fuzzy pink socks, because I like my fuzzy pink socks, and all socks for that matter. But do I need to spend this many paragraphs in the first chapter where people are first getting introduced to my story and my characters on socks? Do I need to talk that much about socks? When socks, they're cool, but they really don't play that big of a role in Sticks and Stones. And while socks can generally be very interesting things, when you're revising a first chapter especially, it's important to think about what is an important thing in your story. So while I personally really like socks, socks do not play a huge role in Sticks and Stones. So that tells me I could probably eliminate like all of those sock details, which, spoiler alert, I did. Another thing that stands out to me is how much I have packed into this first chapter. Did you notice how much was introduced within these 3.5 pages? So we've got Mom, right? We've got Jeg. Snotty Amy gets a mention. Mr. Todd gets a mention. Explorer Leader gets mentioned. Cognitivisabilitis gets mentioned and described. What else? There was more, right? There was definitely more. Cognitivisabilitis. A lot about socks. So much about socks. I mentioned that things other people call her or things that she calls herself show up. So there's a lot going on within these 3.5 pages. And I get that. I get what past me was thinking. But I've also learned that you don't need to do this. Okay, I know it's super, super tempting when you're writing a book or a story. You've got all these great ideas. You've got these characters you want to introduce and situations and problems, and that's awesome. That's what good stories need. But you don't have to introduce them all in your first chapter. For a reader, like for somebody who's never read this before or doesn't know anything about what my story is about, this would probably be a little bit overwhelming. Even for me, just reading this back, my head was kind of wandering different places, you know? I was like, oh, she's on the phone with this JEG person. Well, now she's not. She's talking about explore a leader. What's that? Oh, but now she's talking about these words on her arms. What? So the problem with introducing too much too fast is that you don't really give any one thing the time and detail it deserves. Elisa's relationship with Jeg is important, just like her relationship with Mom is important, just like the details of cognitive visibilitis are definitely important. But by introducing them all like boom, 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 I don't really give my reader the opportunity to understand anything, really, before I'm moving on to the next thing. I think one of the biggest challenges in writing can actually be holding yourself back a little bit and letting things unfold gradually. If you read the final draft of Sticks and Stones, hopefully you'll see that I've really improved that from this draft to this one. You don't need to introduce everything at once. So in this draft, I start off kind of mentioning that words impact her life. And from there, you see a little bit of her life at school. And then from there, you learn a little bit more about cognitive visibilitis. And instead of just piling things on top of each other, you're sort of introducing them in a way that your reader can understand and not feel overwhelmed and not feel confused. And by doing it that way, you're really going to get a reader who understands what's going on and who's excited to keep reading because they know maybe they will find out some new things along the way instead of just bam, 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 here's everything. Okay, understand, go. No, it's too much. It's too much. Gosh, what else? You'll probably notice some other just tiny little things that changed. In my first draft, Elisa was in 7th grade. In the final draft, she's in 6th. Because as I wrote and revised, I realized her voice sounded more like a 6th grader's than a 7th grader's. What else? In this first draft, the words actually caused her physical pain. And in the final draft, they're more of an itch. I did that because I felt bad putting her in physical pain. Like, it just seemed kind of unnecessary. She's already got enough challenges going on. Yeah. So I hope looking at this was helpful for you as you write and revise stories and books of your own. Just remember, nobody gets it right in the first draft, not even official authors with official published books. But the point of a first draft is to get your ideas out, to give yourself stuff to work with, and to eventually mold it, add stuff, delete stuff, change stuff, and get it to be the book that you want it to be, that you're really proud of. All right, let me know if you have any questions about anything I said. If there's anything you'd like me to elaborate on, leave a comment below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything that comes next. Happy reading and writing!